So the point of all existence, in my understanding, it would not be any clearer than this. That's my point. It's just, it's right in front of you. Why don't you turn the volume off so it doesn't make the noise? Because that won't go on for a long time. So again, you can see how there are forces that would prefer not to have this being taught. And it's right in front of your nose. It's like, for me, this is so common, I can't even tell you. It's like, it doesn't matter where I teach, but it happens like that consistently. So anyways, the point of all this is that there is God, okay? And that God, has been portrayed in many ways, through all the different religions and different paths, and there's many pictures of God. But however you want to portray it, I don't really care how you look at it. The bottom line of it is God exists. And that the existence of God ultimately is the center point of the heart of creation. In other words, the very heart of all creation goes back to God. And in that way, it's like a human being. We're either aligned with our hearts or we're not. If we're not aligned with our hearts, we actually fragment ourselves and we actually suffer. So if we don't follow our hearts and we're not connected to our hearts, we suffer, right? If we connect to our hearts and we know what's true in our heart, we're not going to suffer so much, because with the heart is your central reality. And when you're aligned with your heart, you're on track with yourself. When you're not aligned with your heart, you're on track with your mind or something else or somebody else, and you lose yourself, right? Well, if the heart is the center of the human reality, God is the center of the soul and spiritual reality. Okay? So God is the center of the soul and the spiritual reality. So all things are coming back to that state of being with God. Okay? Now, today, what's happening is we're at a pinnacle of human existence. We're actually at a very pinnacle point where, there's major changes going on. But the bottom line of it is, and we know that fact is that it will, in the end, God will win. But the fact is that while we're going through it, it's not so easy. Okay, so we're in the process right now where the light of God is about to become established in a way it's never been established before, with more goodness and more love and peace and holiness than it ever has in the time of existence. And at the same time, to try to stop this, the forces that don't want that to happen are stronger than ever and fighting to make that not happen. And that's exactly the point we are in human existence right now. We're sitting right here. Now, where that comes to you as human beings is, where do you sit in all this? In other words, are you innocent bystanders? Are you involved in it? Are you, trying to avoid it? Can you avoid it? What's your role? And my statement to all of you is, there's no getting away from it. No matter where you go, it's here. You can't run and you can't hide. Therefore, if you can't run and you can't hide, a better choice is to get strong and deal with it. And I say that because I don't care if you go into the mountains of Peru, and I've been there, it's right there. Or the beaches of Costa Rica, it's right there. Or the backwoods of Alaska, it's right there. Or Morocco, it's right there. There's nowhere you're going to get away from this. It's here because it's moving at global levels. So there's no way out in the sense of running. So better than running get strong inside and learn to deal with it, and here's how you do that. And that's, in the essence of this workshop, that's really what I'm teaching you. That's really what it's about. So how do you do this? Well, the way you do it, bottom line, is you take refuge in God. That's the answer to the solution. You take refuge in God. In other words, in your own way, you're not going to be strong enough. But with God's help, you could actually be very strong. And I'll give you an example of this. I was in the movie theater in Rohnert Park, which is near Santa Rosa, California. And I went to a late show one night. It was like 11:30 at night. I caught a late show. And I got out. It was 1:30 in the night. And, you know, the movie theater was empty. I don't know if you've ever been in empty movie theaters. They're actually quite creepy. And so I was kind of got out of the movie theater and went into the restroom, and was tired, wasn't really thinking about it. And I noticed there were about 10 younger Mexican guys in there, but I didn't quite put it together that they were a gang, because I just wasn't used to gangs in California yet, because they're starting to show up in California now. So I walked into the restroom, went to the restroom, doing what men do, and all of a sudden I realized that I am about to get mugged. And I felt it. I wasn't sure, but the sense was that I was going to get a knife in my back. That's what I felt. I felt like I was going to get knifed. So I'm sitting there thinking about this, and I realized that I had very ignorantly walked into it myself, that had not realized what was there, and now I'm about to get a knife in my back, and probably my money stolen, and hopefully not more than that, but I was hoping that I wasn't going to end up getting killed, which I was actually concerned about at that point. So I was standing there, and at the thing that men do, and thinking about the little martial arts that I've studied and wondering if I could handle 10 guys. And not sure I could, actually. And I'm thinking of my age, and I'm thinking these are 25-year-olds, and you know, and there's 10 of them, and you know, maybe I'll get one or two if I'm lucky, but you know, you know, I'm going to lose. I was pretty sure about that. And then I'm sitting there thinking, boy, I need a way out of this. I'm not sure what it is. When all of a sudden the door of the restroom opens, and you know, the doors are, how high is that door up there? About, what, 7 feet maybe? 8 feet? Is it about 8 feet? Probably. Okay, that's a standard door, right, that most places have. That's about that size. The door opens, this guy walks in. He ducked his head under the door to give you how tall he was. So he put his head down, he walked in, he kind of shook his head like this, like he'd been off in some other world. And he walks up to me, and there's like 20 urinals, and he walks up to me, and he stands next to me in the urinal. And I'm looking at him, he doesn't say a word, he just stands there, and he's like, I mean, shoulders, I mean, I looked up to him like that, and I'm almost 6 feet, and I was looking up like that, so I'm thinking, huh. When all of a sudden the door opens a second time, and I swear to God it was his twin brother. The guy walked in a second time, the door opened, he ducks under this way, shakes his head the same way. You know, again, there's like 20 urinals, and he walks up and he stands next to me on the other side. I think they might have been angels. I don't know. I really don't know what they were, honestly. I thought they might have been angels come in. It might have been a lot, just pulled them out of the movie theater someplace. But they came in and they stood next to me like they were literally in trance. And these guys, the gang, started talking in Spanish very quickly, very frighteningly. Said, no, I heard, no, you know, no, no, no. And then they turned and they walked out and they left. And these guys didn't even look at me. They looked around, they saw they left. The two of them literally turned and they walked out of the bathroom, and that was it. Not one word was spoken, not one glance, nothing. So this is what I'm saying, refuge in God. You don't know what God's going to send you when you need it. You don't know what God's going to send you when you need it. On your own, you know, and you can do, I mean, like I said, maybe I would have been able to fight one or two of them, I don't know, at this stage, who knows, you know, but at, you know, not 10. And with God, we didn't even have to fight. We didn't do anything. All we did is they looked and decided they didn't want any part of those guys. You know, for me, I was like, wow, there is a God. I was enjoying that moment of it, you know. So this is an example of seeking refuge in God. And so God has warriors. And those warriors are the angels. Okay, and these angels can take form, by the way, if they want. They can come into form. They usually don't, but they can. And their job is to serve God's will and to serve and support those people who seek refuge in God. So my experience is the greatest protection that a human being can have in the end of the day is that. So, I'll give one more example of angelic help, which I just want you to understand the power of the angels, because I don't think people really understand how powerful they are. I had, I was teaching for many years, 30 years now, and at one point the university decided that they didn't want to pay for my hotels anymore. So somebody had an RV and they said, you're going to take the RV from now on and drive to all your workshops. I said, okay, I like road trips, so I thought that's fine. So I'm in the RV driving, and I notice when I walk outside that the tire, the front right tire, that if you are able to begin to see with your inner eyes into the subtle worlds, you see the auras around things. And I noticed that the aura around the tire was black. And I realized that the tire was in bad shape. And I should change the tire. But I was like an hour away from where I needed to go. And I thought, I'm sure I can wait another hour. And it can, and it'll wait an hour. That was a wrong call. It was a wrong call. So I'm driving on the road, it's 70 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, crossing through San Francisco, when the front right tire exploded. Now, if you've ever been in an RV, when a tire, the back tire, an RV is you have two tires in the back, but in the front you have one. And when the tire explodes, what happens is the RV flips. Okay, so what you end up doing is you end up flipping the RV. So the tire exploded and the RV began to flip. It started literally flipping over like that, like I was at an angle probably like this. And it was actually very cool. I mean, I was like enjoying the of the RV and just kind of thinking, this is probably my last moment on Earth, but it's kind of a cool way to go. And enjoying its movement as it's flipping. Unfortunately, I was on a bridge, and as the car or the RV flips, I noticed that it's flipping into the bridge, the side of the bridge, which I assumed I was going to crash into. And right exactly where it's flipping, there is a car changing a tire on the bridge with 3 women and a tire jack that are standing there. So think about that. Here's a 34-foot RV going 65, 70 miles an hour on a bridge. There's no way out. And it's going straight on into a car that's parked on the side of the road. So I'm thinking to myself, I didn't even have a moment to think, because all of a sudden that kind of cool moment of dying was over, because I realized that I was going to end up killing 3 people on my way out. And I cried out, I said, God, help me. It was a cry that came out of my soul. I didn't come out of my, it didn't come out of my conscious mind. It came out of my soul, and because I didn't want to hurt anybody. And as I cried out and I yelled out, help me, protect them, God took me into the other world. I was almost in the other world already because I was half dead. I was that close to dying, so I was already kind of out of my body, moving into the next world. And so I was already in that world of the angels. And all of a sudden, as clear as I'm looking at you, I could see two angels. And they came up so fast behind me, like they, out of the corner of my eyes, like this, they came. I could see them. And they literally grabbed the RV, and they took it, they turned it upright and turned it away from the three people and set it down, and I missed hitting them by about 6 inches. Or maybe a foot, I don't know, it was very close. But I know that without the angelic help, that they would have been dead and I would have been dead. Okay, so again, this is another example of seeking refuge in God. When you are with God, it's said in our teachings, when you're with God, God is with you. When you're with God, God is with you. When you're not with God, then you're with other things, i.e. yourself, or there are many types of spirits, or who knows what you're worshiping out there, or what you're celebrating out there. But whatever you're with, if you choose that to be your protector, that becomes your protector. Does that make sense? Whatever you worship, whatever you choose to worship, whatever you believe has power, whatever you turn your power to, that's what you get. Okay, so you turn your power to God, you get God and the angels. You turn your power to, something else, you get that. You turn your power to evil, you get evil. So whatever it is that you worship, that is what you get. So the greatest protection that I know of is the protection in God itself, seeking refuge in God itself, which means turning your consciousness and your awareness to God. Now, I don't really care. You want to call God Allah, as Sufis do, I think that's great. You want to call God Brahman, okay, that's great. However you want to call God Great Spirit, that's great. Whatever you want to call God, you can call it. But because God ultimately has many names. But you turning your safety and yourself to God. My statement again, to the group is this is a time, a global time, when we need refuge in God more than ever.